Integrate yourself, everybody. I'm your host, Allison Pillow, and you can find me at pureenergypdx.com and finally thrivingbook.com. Today, I am here with two very special guests and good friends of mine, some new friends I've met recently, Elise and Dan. And I am so sorry, guys. I don't know your last name, actually. What is your last name?
That's right. My last name is Palmieri.
Palmieri. Okay. And you have a different name, Dan. What is it?
Yes. Yeah. Dan Elwood.
Elwood.
Yeah,
Okay.
you think we'd be
Dan,
married after 8 years, but we're not.
you guys sure seem like you have the energy of a couple that is
exactly,
has
yes.
been together for a long time. And yeah, I'd love to talk about relationships today too, because I think that everybody needs a little bit more of that these days for sure. But Elise is a certified nutrition coach and Dan is a personal trainer and certified holistic lifestyle coach. They have dedicated their lives to study, exploration, practice, and the application of all things wellness. Their health journey began on a traditional path of exercise as a means to sports performance and better aesthetics. Over the years, however, through research and more importantly, trial and error, they've come to realize the ways in which all things are connected. And that brings in the holistic aspect. And since then, they've learned to create and integrate a holistic philosophy into a lifestyle that supports continued physical, mental, and spiritual growth and well-being. And they share that with all of the people they work with as well. Welcome, Elise and Dan, to my show. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having us, Allison. We are very excited.
Yes. And so I want to give a little backstory on you guys because we had, just this kind of a happenstance meeting. I had been in touch with you two and you guys had gotten my book and you were really excited about talking about it. And actually, let's see, wait, no, it was, I haven't given you my book yet, but, I think I had sent you the PDF is what happened.
Yes.
Okay. That's what happened. And so you guys had been reading it already. And so you're really excited about it. And I was passing through LA on my way back to Portland. And I said, hey, I was going to mail you guys this book, but why don't we just meet for coffee and I could just give it to you in person. And so we did that and we ended up really hitting it off and you guys were amazing. And it was such a great connection. So ever since then, I got to be on your show and then now you guys are on my show. So I feel like this has been just such a magical connection and I'm so honored and so excited that I got to meet you guys and connect with you. So thanks for being here.
Oh my gosh, thank you too. Yeah, we feel the same way. And it's so funny, Dan and I have always talked about like finding our tribe or our community. And with the growing technological advances in social media, it's kind of taken on a different role of having this community on social media and being able to do these types of talks, whether it be on podcasts or just, via FaceTime and calls. And it's just wonderful to have someone that shares the same holistic views where we're learning from you and you're learning from us, and it's kind of a two-way street. It's such a wonderful connection, right? Nothing happens by coincidence. So I know the universe brought us together.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree. Yeah, it is wonderful to be able to connect with so many more people that are in the holistic realm through social media, through podcasting. And you guys are podcasters and have a wonderful podcast called the Deep Life Podcast, which I love so much. And it's making a lot of traction. It's doing really well. So congratulations on that. And I do. Yeah. I've just been really, especially during the time of the pandemic where all of our businesses changed, right? I mean, big time. Yeah. I mean, I know you guys went through a huge transition. I know if you want to share about what happened with you, but I feel like most trainers, most people in the holistic realm had to really change a lot about what they were doing. And it's, sounds like it's for the better for you guys. You guys are doing very well, right?
Yeah. It was as tragic as the pandemic or COVID hit, and that's a story in itself. I think it really catapulted us to go deep within our business, because we had started Momentum Strength and Wellness. That's the name of our company. Just about maybe, I think we're just about 3 years in now.
Yeah.
But I had also, at that time, 3 years ago, I was in real estate. So I had my real estate license. I still technically have it. I don't practice anymore. But I was really full on real estate. I wasn't a nutrition coach when we first began the company. I just wanted to kind of help out Dan, because I saw that there was so much administrative work that needed to be done with the company through Instagram. So I said, you handle the in-person clients, and whatever I can do to just facilitate the administrative stuff, I did it. But I didn't love real estate. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to people and, seeing all the houses here in Los Angeles are insane, if you can only imagine.
Oh yeah.
So great to be in the Hollywood Hills and see, I would see celebrities coming into our, open houses, but I can talk health, fitness, well-being, spirituality, holistic health all day, every day. But to talk about real estate and houses, it just didn't fuel my soul. Yeah. So when the pandemic hit and we couldn't show houses or do anything, I was like, this is it, Dan. Let's capitalize on this. I'm going to get my nutrition certification so that we can coach people in the aspect of, food, and I'm able to provide more in-depth guidance with meal plans and really educating people about how food is medicine, food is information, and can be very beneficial. And that's where it just kind of took off. And at that same point, we had talked a lot about wanting to start our own podcast for so long. And I remember we were with friends one evening in our, little apartment here, and we were having a really in-depth conversation about spirituality. And my girlfriend was like, you guys should have a podcast. And we were like, we know, it's on our to-do list. It's on our 3 to 5 year plan. And as soon as COVID hit and I kind of relinquished the real estate aspect, within 2 months, we had a gentleman direct message us on Instagram saying, hey, you guys look like you know what you're doing, but you might need a little help. Have you ever thought of having a business coach and maybe starting your own podcast?
Oh, yeah.
And it was wow, it's exactly the universe was giving me the opportunity to step away from my real estate career. And then another door opened.
Yeah.
And it's been magical.
Yeah. It was as soon as you admitted or decided that you were going to make that jump, things started happening. So up till then, I was doing all in-person training.
Oh, right.
Training. And then sort of like everybody else, all of a sudden the gyms were closed and there's nowhere to go. And it was what are we going to do? How are we going to start transitioning this to online coaching? And then that was around the same time. Elise got way more heavily involved and got certified as a nutritionist. And we started kind of shifting toward coaching people online and doing it together, so that we have sort of the training element and then the nutrition element, and then working together on a lot of mindset stuff. And
it's certainly evolved, because when we first began training, I was very timid. A lot was triggering me, to be honest. I definitely needed to work through some shadow work on myself, and I knew that we were calling upon clients that were really my teachers, because I want to help and educate people to the best of my ability and to Dan's ability. And what we began realizing is that everything's interconnected, right? You can't separate physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. We had encompassed it ourselves, but we were still compartmentalizing it with our clients, because we didn't want to come off as woo-woo or spiritual, which it can tend to be in the holistic community when people aren't understanding what holistic health really is.
Right.
So we almost were doing our clients a disservice a couple years ago. That probably sounds bad on our part, but it was just an evolution of coaching.
Yeah.
We very much were able to integrate spirituality and mindset, and really uncovering the deeper meaning of why people wanted to achieve health and well-being in their life. And it was really digging through questions. Why do you want to lose this weight? Or why don't you want to exercise a certain way? And we just were digging deeper into, their lives. And they were uncovering a lot of things to us that helped us connect the dots through their traumas and their resistance or their almost being afraid to become the best version of themselves because they couldn't visualize it. So it was really we're really like focusing a lot more on mindset these days and how we can help people visualize being, the healthier person, whether that be 20 pounds lighter or just being able to have a PR in a squat or a deadlift.
Yeah, totally. That's so smart to go about it that way because, think about it. Like the things that we used before was about, that boot camp mentality just didn't work, I guess it was fun for people for a while, but then after a while, it just felt like punishment. And then slowly we started to associate all of a sudden out of the blue, we started to associate exercise with punishment. And my clients would say things to me sometimes to be like, oh, you're just trying to punish me. They're kidding around or something. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, no, I'm not. I'm really not. This is not punishment. It's not supposed to be. So it got me thinking after a while, like you guys, like how am I going to better serve them so they can own this experience of themselves and really not just be doing it because I'm telling them to do it or I'm guiding them to do it because they really want to do it. And I think that is so important for each person to know their why of behind it, right?
Exactly.
I think for so long, like the fitness industry has been built on almost the idea of like telling people that they're not good enough, and then telling people, but if you buy this supplement or you do this workout plan, then you will be good enough.
Yes.
And it really like that. So that kind of leans into that sort of like, you need to punish yourself because you've been sinning, you've been eating cupcakes or whatever.
You're a bad girl, you're a bad boy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing. It's that scarcity mindset. That's what a lot of the marketing has been behind for so long, especially in our industry. And that was started to bug me after a while. I'm like, I don't really want to sell people things from a scarcity mindset. I want to sell them because they want like more, they want to enjoy, they want an abundance of stuff, like how can I make your life better? Instead of what you don't have, or running after what you don't have constantly, as opposed to let's create more of what you want, So,
Exactly.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, this is something interesting that's popped into my vision lately, is especially on social media. Like I'm seeing people, the hustlers come back in and the marketing and, after, because like during the pandemic, it kind of slowed down a bit. It was kind of nice. And then now I'm seeing the hustling happen again and the same like kind of marketing strategies. And it's really, I'm like laughing at it now because I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's kind of cyclical, right? Everything happens in waves. And we're seeing it too. And I definitely think that we're not your typical fitness coaches. I remember we had a client, this was maybe, 2.5 years ago. And we had an initial call with her and she said, are there going to be weekly weigh-ins and check-ins and, what about my macros and things like that? And that's not what we do for coaching by any means. I do want to reiterate that, there's a time and place certainly for counting calories. And we think it's such an important tool when you're starting your health journey so that you can understand portions and carbohydrates versus fats and proteins. But we want to encourage food freedom. There's such a disconnect between calories in, calories out, and the way that food makes you feel. Same thing with exercise and that beast mode, hitting the gym for 2 hours, getting the heavy lifts in. But then what about quality of form and mobility? So we're all about, it's almost like reteaching our clients to not be and not have that gym hardcore fitness mentality. It's all about longevity. It's like, that's our slogan, right? Building the momentum. It's one step at a time to have you achieve these goals that are going to sustain for the long haul and lifelong journey that you're on, because this doesn't end. We want to continue. We don't want to coach you for the rest of your life. We want to give you the tools that you need to implement into your life.
But the journey goes for your entire life.
Exactly. It's like you want to enjoy it, right?
Yeah. But I think it's so interesting that you point out that like now that the sort of pandemic is over and it's coming back in like this hustle mode, where it's almost like 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago, whenever it was, like everybody was so burnt out but didn't want to admit it. That
Exactly.
It was like this opportunity came where everybody can kind of rest and go in, look inside, and you can do some mobility work and read some books. And now that people are kind of going, like, realizing they have to be outside with their shirt off again or whatever's going on. It's all, let's go. We got
It's hilarious. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm like done with that, like, listen, try something different. Why are we going back to the same thing? Like, that's so boring, first of all. And secondly, it doesn't work. We're
Exactly.
just,
the burnout is real. And that's, and Dan like works with a lot of like burnt out athletes, really, because they either had high school careers or major college careers, and then they fell down the just getting them back to their almost peak potential at their age now, whether that be 30, 40, or 50. It's all unique and dependent on the person.
A lot of people who were athletes growing up, athletes like through college, played sports, went really, really hard, and then burnt out. And then when their career was over, it's like, I don't want to touch another weight. I don't want to be in a gym.
Right.
And then when they do that for a few years, and it's all of a sudden like, okay, well, now I need to lose this 15, 20 pounds, but I don't want to do that. Okay, we can do that. We can start slow. We can take one step at a time, get you moving well and feeling good. And then the rest of it takes care of itself. The aesthetics comes.
Exactly. It's the consistency, persistence, and that's the only way you're going to be able to be consistent, if you actually are owning it, loving it, doing all those things, right? And so that's why the burnout thing doesn't make any sense to me, because all I can think of, what do you guys think about this? Like, what do you think the reason why everybody, especially in our industry, thinks that the burnout, like, just go hard is, even like the motivational speakers, they're all like, the quick, they want to do everything quick. And I thought about this the other day, and I was just like, why do we want to do everything quick and rob ourselves of the experience? Maybe there's some more of the experience that you need to have, or you want to have. Maybe you need to have that space with whatever you're doing. Why does it always have to be quick? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting observation, but I think so much of it, just our culture in general, is instant gratification. But also, like, on a deeper level, I think so many people are just disconnected from their bodies. They don't feel anything. They don't understand their emotions. They don't have a connection to their body. So they're not going to notice the subtle things. They're not going to notice feeling a little bit better, moving a little better. But they do know, like, if you grind yourself into the ground, you feel something.
That is a good point. Yeah.
But it's something. And then you did something. It's very much like I think, at least, like a disconnect.
I think you nailed it, Dan. That's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of with the online coaching that we do. Dan does do in-person sessions, but we obviously do coach together online. But that's where we implemented our, kind of these like healthy habits. We call them like momentum 7 daily habits. And because we realized quickly, exactly what you're saying, people were getting very burnt out with simply just eating correctly and working out. But it's the 23 hours that you spend outside of the gym that's really going to help you. Are you getting quality sleep? Are you breathing properly? Breath work is huge. Do you have a mindfulness or meditation practice where you can calm your mind and get away from the hectic, busy life schedule? And we quickly discovered that most people don't have these kind of core habits that are going to help and progress them along in their health journey. As simple as, taking a 30-minute walk a day, where people were like, that's going to help. And it's like, yeah, of course it's going to help.
It is true. People don't think about those things. And I've noticed that too, like especially after this past couple of years, the holistic lifestyle coaching aspect is so much more important, it feels like, than even just focusing on the fitness or the nutrition. It's like, it really needs to be in there now. You just can't, like you said, Elise, it's not going to work. Like, they still can burn themselves out if they do 90% of the time, all the other, running around like a chicken with its head cut off kind of stuff, and
exactly.
You're not going to be able to offset that by going into the gym and
No.
And even the best workout in the world isn't going to offset 23 hours that are working against you.
Right.
And then I think on top of that, like to get back to what I was saying before, like if you're going to go for that hour and grind yourself into the ground, you're just adding stress to all the other stress.
And think about how much you get to rest to come back from that, like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think people, like, to Dan's point, like, disconnect from their body. The majority of people really don't know how poorly they feel. We talk about this all the time, and I don't mean that to sound mean by any means. I didn't know how badly I felt until I began really digging deep within myself and working on all things internally, whether that be spiritual or physical. But I think we're at least able to kind of plant the seed in people's head.
Right,
and it's really like what we're all trying to do, because there's only so much accountability that all of us can do as coaches, but it's really up to the individuals to want to work and better themselves. We can give them all the tools in the world, but they have to implement them themselves. And it's so empowering though. Like, the best thing in the world is when we get a client that hits that like light bulb moment of whether that be spiritual or like a mindfulness, if they had a really deep meditation, or if they hit a PR and it's like, yes, this is what we're here, like helping people for. Like, I'm just shining my light on you because you're just as capable, if not more capable. We all are seated with this divine, the divine source within us. And that's been like really, truly like eye-opening and like just so magical that I feel like finally I found my purpose. I know that sounds super cheesy, but I love helping people in that aspect.
I think that's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. And I meant to say this to you at the beginning of when you were saying we have our own podcast called The Deep Life. And you asked us what our last names are. So a fun little fact about The Deep Life. The deep is it has so many different meanings for us. Like, we want to dig deep. We want to get into an understanding of, what people's core values are or what their limitations are so we can help them. That's digging deep.
Right.
But deep is our initials. Dan, Elwood, Elise, Palmieri.
Oh my
So
God.
it's
Okay.
Meaning.
That's so cool. I love that. And it actually is a great name for a podcast too. That's amazing. I mean,
worked out well.
Yeah, I did.
In a deep meditation, like a couple years ago, I was like, when we have a podcast, I didn't know how we were going to use deep, but the thought just came to me that deep. I didn't know if it was going to be deep conversation or deep talks, but The Deep Life, it came to me.
It's perfect. And the combination of you guys is really, in your business is the energy that you create to help people. And that makes sense that it would be like that. That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
There's no coincidences.
Yeah.
Wow. Definitely not. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We can certainly talk about the relationship aspect.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's interesting. I think we bring a really important aspect to like people's lives because we live a very holistic lifestyle. Obviously everything's interconnected, but we weren't always this way. We've done this journey together. We met in high school and, there's certainly been, ups and downs since then. But when we began kind of bettering ourselves, I'd say over a decade ago, about 10 years ago, everything we did was together. And it wasn't always at the same point. There were aspects of, health, fitness, food that Dan kind of pioneered. And I was kind of scared to take the leap. But when I saw him doing it, it gave me the courage to do it myself. And vice versa. Same thing with a lot of like spiritual things. I've been diving deep very much into spirituality. And then I've kind of, I think, given him the little nudge to judge. But it's like a lot of people that we coach do have significant others, whether that be, a husband, a wife, whatever partnership that you're in. But I think that goes hand in hand because you do need a support system or someone either cheering you on or helping you that's not going to shame you or make you feel bad about wanting to better yourself. So we're able to give that aspect into our coaching.
Yeah.
And having male-female dynamic has really helped us too, because there's certain clients that Dan connects with, and there's certain clients that I connect with. And it's just bringing that masculine and feminine for both of us, because we each have that individual to the table with coaching.
Absolutely. Yeah. You guys are similar to like how Roseanne and Jeff work too. You guys know them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much. Yeah. Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
cool. I love that. Yeah. Dan, you want to
Yeah.
say anything about that? Like,
Yeah. Do I? Yeah. I mean, it's been an interesting journey, but it is like, I think it's like working together, living together, being together. Like, we spend a lot of time together. We do a lot of things together. And I think just like sort of like learning how to work well together has been just like a huge life lesson, because it wasn't always there. And I think like we would butt heads a lot, especially when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
We both had a lot of issues we needed to work through individually. And when we sort of like learned how to give each other space to do that and support each other without it being competitive or like being triggered by each other going through things,
right,
has been huge. Because I think there's been a lot of things like Elise would do that would drive me crazy. And it was like being able to step back and realize that like, okay, I'm mad at her because of something that I did.
Wow. Yeah.
And
So getting reflective on it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then like at least knowing to be patient and like, let me figure it out. And so it wasn't another thing we had to fight about. And I think that's been huge. Definitely took a while, but like I could give advice to other couples is be patient with each other and kind of give each other space to grow.
Yeah, I think
being supportive.
Yeah, I think luckily we have this awareness of who we truly are and what our purpose here is. And I think that once we realized that a couple years ago, our relationship grew exponentially. Because basically what Dan's talking is about both of our shadows, right? The shadow aspects of our lives, and the business really catapulted that. I'm working on this, but I tend to be very controlling. And I know that that's my ego trying to keep me safe and trying, especially like, I've never run a business before. I'm really learning as I go, and my ego doesn't know how to run a business. So it's trying to keep me safe and control the things that I can really control. But I realized Dan is so intelligent, and he knows so much. He absorbs so much information. He's been a personal trainer for almost 10 years. I've only been a nutrition coach for 2. There's obviously, he does a lot of the physical, but he has dedicated his life to researching any and all aspects of well-being and wellness, especially holistic health. And, the Chek Institute has catapulted him. And he was my introduction to learning about Paul Chek. Yeah. So even though, I kept, wanting to control the situation, I really had to relinquish a lot of my control and let him step in and take over. And and that's where like the magic happened, because when I relinquished the control, let him do it, more and more opportunities began coming, because I was releasing that, and it was like the universe saying to both of us, great, you're releasing this egotistical small self. We're going to give you the opportunities that's going to show you how a business is going to run and how better you can serve others when we're on the same page and able to learn through what we're teaching and helping others with.
I love that so much. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's been, the shadow work has been crazy, the inner child work, but it's only making us better, and it's making us better coaches. I feel so much more confident in coaching than I did 2-3 years ago, because I feel like a different person. I'm happier, I'm more secure, I'm going and almost doing these things that I'm teaching clients. So we're firsthand able to, really dive deep in with our clients. And that's really, we call it like the momentum mindset too, diving deep and asking those questions, what's your why? Like, or why are you so resistant to this portion changing in your life? And we joke about this a lot. I don't know if you feel the same, but we kind of become our clients' therapists. unlike
Absolutely. Yeah.
you know how it is, like people open up to you and it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't expect that to be a part of the coaching, but it's also rewarding because I'm able to look at people's situations, having the awareness that I have now that,
Right.
okay, your mind has put these limitations on you, or these experiences that you had as a child or an early teen, through, school or friendships or community has brought these limitations. Let's work through that. And that's really been so eye-opening, I think, for the both of us. It's being able to recognize that we're all humans in this, human experience on Earth right now, and we're given these challenges to grow through.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, as I can perceive this person's challenge and help them maybe work and grow through it, it's only making me be able to work through my own stuff and being able to help coach the next person who's going to have a similar or something that's really unique to them.
Absolutely. Yeah, it turns in, it goes from a projection to a reflection. So everybody's a reflection, right?
Yeah,
it's a good place to be. Yeah.
And when you have that awareness, it's so rewarding. But if you don't, and it certainly was me years ago, I would get very upset and triggered, and I couldn't understand it. So I was like stuck in the victim mentality.
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening to me? Like, why can't everyone just do the meal plans that I'm telling them to do? And then I had to take a step back.
Yeah.
Right. It was all about me. The universe was giving me these opportunities to learn and grow through myself. And once I relinquished the victim mentality, and I was like, okay, there's this trigger, this shadow within me. It's coming up because it needs to be released. It's energy that needs to release out of my body. So now I'm allowing it to just passively come in and out.
And that's when you realize that, like, all the obstacles are happening for you, not to you. And that they're all an opportunity to grow. And then you can start growing. And then you're not stuck in that cycle of the same thing happening over and over and over.
Yeah,
So
that's incredible.
That's been such huge growth for us personally, and at the same time, like, as coaches, kind of like Elise mentioned before, like, we were at a point where we were maybe doing a disservice to people. And that was because we weren't integrating all the other lifestyle things, but we also kind of weren't helping people recognize that their obstacles are an opportunity, and that things are happening for them.
Yeah. Everything is presented to you as a growth opportunity, and if you can visualize it in that aspect, your life could be changed.
Yeah, it's learning how to surrender and receive, right? Yeah.
Yes, the receiving is huge. Yeah, not, again, I was trying to control every aspect of my life, and it's just, what's the saying? Like, you make plans and God laughs, or something.
And that's the hustling, striving aspect, right? Is what we that's kind of our societal, like, norm, and it has been, right? Yeah, that's where we've all learned it in a way. That's how we control things, right? We make things happen. But I think,
and there's certain point where there's definitely, you need to take actionable steps.
Right. There's a balance. Yeah, exactly.
The healthy balance. I love that you put it that way. It's exactly right. You've got to receive some, and then you've also got to give something. It's all about the balance. I love that you said that. It's very true.
I call it inspired action. So when you take action, it's action that doesn't deplete you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just saying, like, just doing things with intention.
Yeah.
Not just like on that hamster wheel, just spinning your tires and banging your head against the wall. It's actually like stopping, reflecting, figuring out what steps you want to take, and then taking them, with intention, so that you're doing it right the first time.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of funny. It goes back to the relationship where Dan and I are like, we've been together since high school. Little hiccups here and there, but we're not married, and neither of us have an inkling to be. And I think it just like we really like to live our lives on our own terms. And very early on, I didn't feel a need that I needed to fit into the box of having marriage or a husband as a title, husband and wife as a title, to grow together and to learn together. And I think that was really scary for me, because I come from an Italian family, like Italian American, that's all about family and marriage and very much about that. So for me, not to be married and have that, but it was like, it really was intentional, because I wanted to live my life and show people that I can be really, really happy, and we don't need to have these labels. Now, I am the first person on the dance floor when you want to get married. I will celebrate love all day, every day. I think it's absolutely beautiful. When we're just in, the East Coast celebrating, Dan's cousin's wedding. It's beautiful. I love that people have that connection. They want to share it for their lifetime. I think it's sacred, and I think it's wonderful. But that's, I think where we step out of the box, and I just want to be examples for people that you can be your own person. You can do your own thing. You can quit the 9-to-5 job and start your own company, or you don't necessarily need to get married, or you can have multiple partners. I mean, to each their own, whatever it may be. I think that society has done a disservice where you have to be something or have to have a label to be accepted. And I just want to show people, like, that's not true. Like, labels on yourself, that's only really diminishing who the true authentic person is underneath it all. And that's what I'm trying to exude. I want to be this authentic version of myself. And I want to show people that it's all right to go about your lives doing however you want to do, whether it's acceptable or not. If it's true to you, that's your path. That's the way to go.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it takes a higher level of trust to be with someone and not do the whole marriage thing. It's what it creates. And you guys are the second couple I've talked to recently that has said this. The other, I don't know if you guys know Mimi and Chase, but they on the medicine podcast.
Okay.
They divorced and then got back together, but didn't remarry. So they kind of are doing a similar thing to what you guys are doing. They're like, we just like it better like this, because now we want to be together. We don't feel like we're obligated to be together, And I think that is a huge deal, because in marriage, especially when you have kids, from my experience, there's an obligation. It kind of feels like a business relationship after a while. And then you have to rekindle that relationship. And really, like for me personally, I had to decide, my husband and I, talked about, like, do we want to be together, or are we together because we know we have to raise kids together, and we've been together for so long, because we got together at an early age too, like in college. So I was 20, I was 21 and he was 22, I think, or something like that. So it's pretty young.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're together for so long, you start to wonder after a while, like, okay, are we still together because we want to be together, or just because it's comfortable, or we're obligated? So I think that taking the marriage out of the whole thing is a great idea, because then I think you just appreciate the relationship more, in some ways. And not to say you can't appreciate it if you're married too.
No,
but it's like, it's kind of a false, contract for the relationship in a way. It's kind of a weird thing. And I've thought about that too, it's,
Yeah. I think it's important that you're not doing it for other people.
Yeah.
You're not getting these parents or family or society. But I feel like you just said, just like taking that time to just ask the question and make sure, like, are we still doing this because we want to do it? Or are we doing it because we're like stuck in it? And I think that's so empowering to just know that it is still your choice, and that you're doing the thing that you want to do. And that's like kind of the same with everything. It's like not being afraid to ask those questions and to get deep, and to ask, like you literally ask, why, basically, talking to your
Yeah.
husband, saying, why
No,
are we still together? And
Yeah.
it's so good to know, in the same sense, like if you hire a trainer and you want to lose 20 pounds, why?
Right.
Why do you want to lose that weight? Is it because society says you should be, you should weigh less, or is it because you need to lose it so that you can love yourself, versus you love yourself and want to make choices treating your body like somebody that you love, which is very different. Like losing 20 pounds so you can love yourself is incredibly different than loving yourself so you make good decisions to support your body and in time lose 20 pounds. It's just a completely different way of looking at it. But I think that's living a deep life, I think. And that's sort of like the point we want to keep getting across is like, know why you're doing things and make decisions kind of based on your own core values and who you are. And I think you always serve yourself that way.
Yeah. And
Well
it's
said.
funny.
Yeah.
And it's funny because with the relationship aspect, like I'm not the same person I was 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. So it's like an evolution. And I love seeing Dan grow and kind of step into himself, like business owner, like taking ownership, like working through shadow. And same thing with me. I hope that we kind of like, I feel like we're like butterflies, you know.
Well, see, now that you know how to do it, you can do it all the rest of your life, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's so funny. I have I don't tell many people this. I have a butterfly tattoo.
Where?
Like
where is
it? Oh
it?
my God, it's so cheesy, Allison. Oh my God. It's on my hip. I got it in college. It's like the
Nice.
quintessential like college tattoo.
Well, of course. I got one of those too a long time ago when I got taken off.
That makes me feel better. And everybody was at that time was like, what's the symbolism of the butterfly? And it literally meant nothing to me. I did it. My roommate in college at the time, we were freshmen. She's like, I want to get a tattoo. You want to come with me? And I was like, great, yeah. And she was like, she's not an artist, but she's very into art. Like she designed hers. It was like this seashell that had like a beautiful beach landscape in it, like designed herself. I like walked into the tattoo and I was like, just give me a butterfly. I don't care what it was. And I hid it for so long. You can't even see it in a bathing suit. But the more that I grow and learn, especially stepping into like my true authentic self,
yeah,
I think every day about the symbolism of this tattoo that I got basically unconsciously. And now I'm just consciously aware of the meaning that it has on my body and how I feel like I'm developing so much from this cocoon caterpillar stage into like this beautiful butterfly. I just say that because I was so afraid to share that. And now it's like, this is a part of me that I have that has just given me a new aspect on life and how everything happens for a reason. And I picked this butterfly and here it is on me as I learn and grow.
Like back when you were a caterpillar, your soul had you get a butterfly tattoo.
That's right. Your soul was speaking to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so funny how we like this can be a good representation of aspects of ourselves that we don't like or we try to hide, you know, or we're embarrassed about or ashamed about. And it's like, then you look back on it, you're like, actually, I was right on the money with that one.
Yeah.
You know? I didn't even realize it.
Exactly. Yeah. See, I didn't even know that my higher self was guiding me then.
Yeah.
I do now though. And it's like, yeah, it's bananas to look back and see how everything has unfolded in like perfect divine timing. In the most beautiful way. Again, it's like you do have to have a level of awareness of this, because anybody who's listening to this who isn't sure of that, they're gonna say, you know, what are you talking about? But it's just there are no coincidences. Everything unfolds perfectly when you're ready, whether that be good or bad, especially the bad times.
Right.
That's really an opportunity to look and say like, wow, okay, let me take this head on, and where are my life lessons that I can learn and grow through from them?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's when they're, you know, sometimes we have to flex our spiritual muscle, right? We have to have those opportunities.
Yeah. I love that you said that.
It's like, Yeah, it's like the same as like physical training. Like you need to work toward it. You get a little bit, and then you're more comfortable to take the next step, and then the next step, and you find yourself building momentum.
Yeah, and I find when we began coaching too, I had mentioned this a little bit. Like we didn't really introduce spirituality or like any type of coaching in that aspect at first because we didn't want to be the weird coaches. But we quickly realized that there is an aspect to spirituality that you do have to at least be mindful of while coaching. And I remember we were working with a client on her breathing. She was an older client, and Dan does a lot of breath work with our online clients. And she was describing I think she was either in a yoga class or some sort of Zoom class, maybe a meditation, and she was talking about when I tell you this woman lives perpetually in a fight or flight lifestyle, like she's like the epitome of just someone who like has anxiety constantly. So we're working with her with her breath work and calming her mind. And she was explaining to us that she was there was a person who was trying to guide her with visualizing breath in her body and reaching all the major organs of your body. I'm sure you do this with your clients where it's like inhale and like you bring it to your brain and your lungs, and then through your arms and your torso and your legs. And she was getting so frustrated. She's like, I can't even visualize that.
Yes, that's so funny. I went through the same thing.
Okay, yeah. And it didn't click when she had told us that in our session until like a couple days later. And I was like, oh my gosh, Dan, I was like, her third eye is blocked. And it's like, okay, like that's like, okay, we have to introduce some sort of energy healing, the chakras, into our coaching so people like can understand that it's much more than physical. Like there are things deep within us. And that's where I was like, okay, yeah, this is where we can take our coaching to the next level. This is how we can help people visualize as simple as breathing and giving that air into just simple body parts. It's like, that's what we mean by everything has to be interconnected, right? Mind, body, spirit.
Yeah, because you're using your intuition to help that person, and that makes total sense. That's so funny that you bring that story up, because that happened to me the first time I realized that my third eye was blocked like that. I was like, oh, I can't imagine anything. Like I can't even do it as hard as I try. I can't do this. And that's the whole reason I started getting into the opening myself up, my creativity, and embracing that part. And put the chapter, use your imagination muscle, because I think there's a lot of people out there that are in that position that we just don't realize, and they might not even realize it themselves. But I think it's really over time, what might happen to people is they just suppress their intuition because they're told, it's like, it's woo woo, it's weird, don't, or listen to everybody else or whatever it is. They might have had an experience with that where it got suppressed at some point, and they just keep doing that, and then they lose the ability to visualize through the third eye. So oh my God, and so was she able to do that eventually, or connect with that, or is she just getting started with you guys?
This was a couple months ago.
A couple months ago. Okay.
Much better. She is
good. Yeah. So it's not that hard for people to really connect with once they realize it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Awareness, I think, is the big thing. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. And I think it's so easy to not notice or realize that you have repressed things and that you're holding yourself back because you're just not aware and not trying to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost just introducing, like you said, more creativity, even more journal prompts or visual. It's just little things like that. And we'll give people, exercises just to, visualize like a plant growing, from the roots down to, it's just little things like that. You don't think of that as your imagination, but it is your imagination, your third eye go hand in hand.
Yeah. And once that person, what's that? Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I said, I love this type of stuff. It gets me so excited.
I know, me too. It's like, And I think also once someone opens them up that way, like they have an amazing imagination, like, there's
Yeah.
like that just unleashes all of that. And whereas before maybe they didn't think they did, and so yeah, I think that it might also have something to do with people just really being, like you said, Elise, earlier in the conversation, about wanting to control their lives and making sure that everything is a certain way, and going through life with more egocentric kind of approach. So once you can find the harmony, I would say balance, but also it's really harmonizing the two, that the ego, appreciating the ego for what it does for you, but then also bringing that deeper aspect of creating your reality, and tapping into that, and getting really comfortable with imagining possibilities. Then I think then that's where the magic happens, like you guys are talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what we're really trying to work our coaching towards now, because we're envisioning ourselves as coaches, business owners, financially stable, healthy, like kind of harmonized in all
Yeah.
aspects of our lives, that we can in turn help our clients visualize that. Because Dan always says, you want to visualize the highest version of yourself.
Right.
But for someone who can't visualize that whatsoever, that's not going to mean anything to them. So it's really like closing your eyes and picturing yourself 10 pounds lighter than you are. I'm giving a simple
Yeah.
example. And it's like, if you can do that, you're one step ahead of a lot of people, because some people can't even visualize that. And that's what's impeding them from achieving their goals, because they've got the mental block.
Exactly. I love that so much.
Yeah. Everything has to be a thought before it can be a thing.
That's right. Yeah.
If you're not able to visualize like the future that you want, then you're going to find yourself trapped in more of the same. And that's,
right.
I mentioned before, people like find ourselves, it's so easy to like get trapped in that like cycle of saying and just keep on repeating the same lessons over and over, and think that the world's out to get you. You can open yourself up and you'll see a future that gets you excited, and then you can bring that into fruition.
Absolutely. Our thoughts are the tools of our creativity. It's how we create our reality. But then, like you said, if we get limited into thinking certain thoughts are only real, then we keep creating more of the same, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you gotta get out of that. What's that?
You're so right. The thoughts, yep, they're all there. The thoughts are our teachers, whether they be good, bad.
Well, that's why you gotta harness those thoughts, because it's like take control of those thoughts.
Yes.
Well, thank you guys so much. I can't believe it's already been an hour. It's crazy, right?
This is how it was when we met. We could just talk for hours.
I know, and I want to see you guys again soon. I want to next time I go to LA, I'll send you guys a message, and we'll have to meet up again soon.
Or we need to come up to Portland, because I've been and I loved it.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah,
you guys can. There's so many things to do here. We could do hikes. We could go to get some really good food. All kinds of fun things. Yeah.
That sounds
Well,
great.
thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun having you on. Gosh.
Thank you for having us.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, you guys are the best.
If you're the best.
Thank you. Please leave my audience with anything you'd like to leave as far as what you're offering, what you'd like to share as far as websites, links, those kinds of things. And of course, your Deep Life podcast. I love it so much.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Deep Life podcast, the Deep Life by Momentum. It's on all major platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google Play. We release an episode every Wednesday, so it's a once a week episode. So we do individual kind of conversations just between Dan and I of life experiences and what we're going through, and then we have guests on, like you yourself and a lot of other great guests. And to follow us on social media, we would love it. They're Instagram, Facebook, all at Momentum Strength Wellness.
Yeah, same for YouTube.
Same for YouTube. And then our website is momentumstrengthwellness.com. And yeah, we offer online coaching. I mean, in person if you're in Los Angeles, but online is, you know, our go-to. And we typically do our coaching through like monthly packages. So it will be either 3 months, 6 months, or a year, because we do realize that it takes time. A month you can get some progress, but 3, 6, or a 12 month is really where we hit the sweet spots with our clients.
Absolutely. I do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think people have to commit to a certain amount of time for things to happen.
It takes at least 3 months to start getting something.
It does, yeah. But we want to thank you so much for having us on and giving us the opportunity to talk to your listeners. So thank you, Allison.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. It's so great to have you, and I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Allison.
You're welcome. Let's see.